At 5:30 a.m., September 27, 2025, the morning in Melitopol was strangely quiet. The streets still carried the chill of night, dew clinging to cracked asphalt, the smell of diesel drifting faintly from a nearby depot. In that silence, a Russian commander noticed something he thought trivial. A battered old UAZ van idling near the edge of his base. Rusted panels, fogged windows, sagging suspension. It looked like the kind of vehicle farmers use to haul potatoes, or fishermen used to haul nets. Annoying, harmless, routine, or so he believed. He frowned, waved for a patrol to check it, and turned back to his screen. That small gesture, casual and unthinking, would become the most fatal miscalculation of his career. Because this wasn't just a van, it was bait. And by the time its tires squeaked to a halt, the trap had already closed. This base wasn't another warehouse. It was the beating heart of Russia's Lancet drone campaign in southern Ukraine. A campaign that had mauled armored columns, shredded artillery, and terrorized trenches. The Russians considered it untouchable. A 6-mile-wide jamming bubble surrounded it, scrambling GPS, shutting down hostile signals, and reducing drones to blind birds. To Moscow's planners, this fortress of electronics and steel was proof of technological dominance. But technology blinds as much as it protects. Jammers can cut signals, but they can't scramble human imagination. Inside the perimeter, days earlier, Ukrainian operatives had slipped into Melitopol's industrial sprawl. No flashy gear, no heavy armor, just quiet nerves, local disguises, and the patience to wait. They planted a 15-pound mine carefully buried on a side road. They rigged an abandoned warehouse, filling it with 4 cheap FPVs, the kind built from mail-order parts, and 1 heavyweight drone, their ace in the hole, the Baba Yaga, a craft designed for single decisive strikes. Everything was in place. The van was the final piece, the bait to pull Russia's fortress into the open. 3 minutes later, the growl of engines broke the stillness. A Russian patrol truck barreled down the street, its headlights slicing through mist. The mine was in place, the drones were ready, the Ukrainians were already slipping away when disaster loomed. Through a hacked radio net, they overheard a chilling transmission. The patrol was 30 seconds out. No clean exit, no time to vanish without leaving a trace. So they improvised. They left the van exactly where it was, doors ajar, crates hidden beneath potato sacks. And to mask the smell of machinery, they had doused the inside with rotting fish. That rank odor, disgusting, mundane, unmilitary, was their camouflage. Because soldiers might miss hidden wires, but they'd never suspect a fisherman's truck stinking of last week's catch. Then the team melted into shadows, pressed flat in a narrow alley, waiting for the sweep of headlights. The patrol truck slowed, its beams cut across the van. 10 seconds of tension stretched into an eternity. Boots scuffed against asphalt. A soldier sniffed the air, wrinkled his nose, and muttered. The leader shrugged. False alarm, he radioed. The Ukrainians exhaled, relief flooding them. But relief was short-lived. When they powered their uplink, a microscopic 0.3-second electronic ping flashed outward. To the human ear, it was nothing. But to the Russian EW screen, it was a ghost, an anomaly inside the untouchable bubble. Suspicion crept into the commander's mind. He didn't know what it meant, but it was too close, too strange. And so he gave the order that sealed his fate, move the depot. The sound of steel came alive. A $2 million depot vehicle, bristling with racks of Lancet drones, rumbled out, flanked by infantry. Dozens of soldiers scrambled, boots clanging against concrete, forming up to protect the prize. For the Ukrainians, the mission teetered. Their plan had just been exposed. The depot was moving, and if it reached the highway, the operation was lost. They had 1 shot left, and it wasn't firepower. It was psychology. From the warehouse, two FPVs screamed skyward. Within seconds, Russian jammers smothered them. On screens, they appeared as malfunctioning drones, broadcasting friendly codes but flying erratically. To the Russian EW operator, this wasn't an attack. This was proof his jammer worked. And then came the clincher. A $5 firework ignited against a junked truck. Sparks, smoke, a flare of light. The perfect image of a drone crash. The commander didn't see a trap. He saw validation. His fortress had worked. His jammers had killed intruders. And now he wanted proof. A trophy to parade before his superiors. He diverted the convoy, steering the depot straight toward the fake wreckage. The massive truck halted with its front wheel inches from the buried mine. The trap had sprung, not because of steel or explosives, but because a man believed what he wanted to see. From 300 yards away, a whisper triggered the Baba Yaga. A low-power laser sent the signal. The mine erupted, not as a broadside, but as a scalpel. Its blast sheared the truck's front axle, vaporized wiring, and left 40 tons of steel stranded on the X. Russian infantry dove for cover, convinced it was just another IED. They opened fire blindly, tracers slicing through the smoke. What they didn't know was that chaos wasn't a mistake. Chaos was the plan. Amid the confusion, the Baba Yaga lifted into the air, heavy and menacing. Almost instantly, an Orlan 10 drone circling above locked onto its heat signature. The mission seemed lost again, until a sacrificial FPV slammed into a nearby power line. The short circuit created a thermal bloom so intense it blinded the Orlan sensors. One drone died, another lived. The Baba Yaga vanished into the cluttered heatscape of the city. Russian defenses roared awake, chaff burst in the sky glittering like metallic snow. Heavy machine guns opened fire, tracers stitching across rooftops. A Mi-8 gunship thundered inbound, blades chopping the air. But Russia was fighting the wrong war. The Baba Yaga didn't hunt radar signatures. It hunted heat. And the depot was glowing like a furnace. To add insult, a hidden beacon 2 miles away suddenly flared with a false thermal signature. The Mi-8's sensors swiveled toward it, chasing a ghost. Confusion rippled through Russian comms. Bullets couldn't kill what they couldn't see. The Baba Yaga's battery sat at 5%. Its operators knew this was the last move. They tilted its nose downward. At 120 miles per hour, the drone became something else. Not a machine, but a bullet of intent. It slammed into the depot's steel belly. A shaped charge ignited. A jet of molten copper tearing through 8 inches of armor and into the racks of drones inside. The result was biblical. One Lancet ignited, then another, then dozens. A chain reaction thundered through the vehicle. The morning sky lit with a fireball hot enough to melt steel. 5 Russian soldiers were incinerated instantly. Others staggered back, blinded by the flash, deafened by the roar. By the time the smoke cleared, the depot was nothing but a crater. And the Ukrainians, already gone, slipping into pre-dug civilian tunnels, vanishing like ghosts. When the Mi-8 finally arrived, it found nothing but black smoke, twisted steel, and silence. The fortress of steel, electronics, and certainty had been undone by potato sacks, rotten fish, 4 cheap drones, and a firework. The Russians had trusted their fortress. But fortresses don't fight wars. People, belief, and deception do. The math was merciless. $1,500 in Ukrainian kit versus over $20 million in Russian losses. But the deeper loss wasn't measured in rubles. It was measured in tempo. For weeks, Lancet drones had terrorized Ukrainian brigades. Now, with the depot erased, those strikes went silent. The Ukrainians hadn't just won a battle. They'd bought time to breathe, to regroup, to strike elsewhere. And more importantly, they had shown the world something few understood. The deadliest weapon in modern war isn't always a missile or a drone. It's belief. A commander believed his jammer worked. A soldier believed he had scored a kill. An army believed its fortress was safe. And in that belief lay their destruction. Because in modern war, the mind is the first battlefield. And on that September morning in Melitopol, Ukraine won it before the first explosion. Slava Ukraini!